Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Los Angeles protest over immigration raids escalate in scale and order. Trump deploys Marines in the city even as California governor vows to sue Trump administration amid escalating conflict. Markets across the world watching intently as US-China trade talks in London stretch to the second day. Trump claims the talks going well. Trump warns time running out for Iran to avoid military action as next round of nuclear talks to take place on Thursday. Also, Tehran readies a counter-proposal on a potential agreement. Amid escalating tensions, Russia and Ukraine exchange prisoners. Zelensky welcomes the move, says the exchange began under the first stage of agreement reached in Istanbul and there will be several stages. Frederick Forsyth, UK author known for spy novels and Day of the Jackal, dies at the age of 86. In the United States, President Donald Trump is sending additional 2,000 National Guards after he ordered active duty Marines into Los Angeles. He vowed those protesting immigration arrests would be hit harder than ever.
This is the San Francisco Police Department. I'm ordering you all to sit down. You are all being detained. San Francisco Police Department, you're being detained. Sit down.
The extraordinary mobilization of 700 full-time professional military personnel who joined hundreds of National Guard troops already there looked likely to stoke tensions in a city with a huge Latino population. A fourth day of protest was unfolding in Los Angeles, triggered by dozens of arrests of what authorities said were illegal migrants and gang members. The deployment came after demonstrators took over streets in downtown LA on Sunday, torching cars and looting stores in ugly scenes that saw law enforcement responding with tear gas and rubber bullets. Trump's use of the military, which he repeatedly threatened to do while campaigning for the White House, marked a significant break from the modern American political practice. California Governor Gavin Newsom slammed the move as deranged, as tensions have been rising since Trump activated the National Guard, an act that Democrats have labeled as unnecessary provocation. The National Guard has not been deployed over the head of a state governor since 1965 at the height of the civil rights movement. At least 56 people were arrested over 2 days and 5 officers suffered minor injuries in Los Angeles, while about 60 people were arrested in protests in San Francisco. Coming out on protesters, New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch reaffirmed the city's commitment to protecting peaceful protests while maintaining public safety at a press conference. Adams echoed the importance of peaceful protest, urging New Yorkers to choose nonviolence and compassion amid social divisions. Jessica emphasized on the New York Police Department's role in safeguarding protest rights and ensuring order, warning against violence and property damage. Both leaders assured the city's readiness to respond to any unrest, drawing lessons from recent events in California.
As always, the NYPD will protect every person's right to protest peacefully. That right is central to our democracy, and the NYPD is committed to ensuring that people can always exercise that right safely. And as a matter of city law, we do not engage in civil immigration enforcement, period. We will continue to follow the law. But let me be crystal clear. We have no tolerance for violence, none. We have no tolerance for property damage. We have no tolerance for people blocking entrances to buildings or blocking driveways or blocking cars from moving. And any attacks against law enforcement will be met with a swift and decisive response from the NYPD. We are responsible for public safety and maintaining order in this city, and we will never abdicate that responsibility.
Service Employees International Union and United Service Workers West California President David Herta was released from federal custody on Monday after his arrest last week and subsequently being arraigned on federal felony charges for impeding an officer. Herta, like hundreds of others at a rally advocating for his release earlier in the day, expressed the importance of non-violent protest and explained the implications of the ongoing civil unrest for detainees when the detention center enters into lockdown.
The detainees, they cannot come out. So while this is happening, they cannot come out. There's also the risk, they also cannot see their lawyers. And to a certain extent, they cannot also do court hearings that are so important. Because had I not had my court hearing today, I doubt I would be standing here today. We will have our time for justice, but we must do it in a way that we demonstrate the power of working people across this country and stand united.
Demonstrations took place in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, among other cities. There were questions over how well prepared the National Guard had been for its sudden deployment, with pictures obtained by the San Francisco Chronicle appearing to show guardsmen sleeping on the floor of what the paper said was a federal building.
We are not criminals. We are working people, and we are not a trash can for the president. This is not I don't understand if this is his way to make America great again. Destroy our people, destroy our communities, destroying America. That's what he's doing.
This provocation of having ICE agents lie to people, of having them actually set up court dates that people went to in good faith, thinking that they're following the rules, and then what happens is that they're arrested by these masked, frankly, thugs. We've seen children and parents terrorized by these, frankly, kidnappings.
What we normalize today and don't stand against today is a clear signal to the people in the future of what we're willing to put up with. So just draw the line now, draw the line here, right?
All right, our correspondent Akshay Dongre is joining us to get us more. Akshay, we've seen that the Los Angeles protests have escalated, and also how US President Donald Trump has ordered Marines to be deployed in the city. Apart from the National Guards who had already been deployed, how do you gauge the situation at present, and how do we expect it to unfold in the next few days?
Well, it's going to unfold now in the courtrooms, Preeti, because what we are hearing is that the governor of California has decided to take the Trump administration to the court as far as the decisions are concerned. Now, what the governor of California is claiming is that the federal government is trampling over the rights of the states. Now, United States, it says in the name that it is a union of states, that is 50 states, but that is the basis of the US. So every state has its separate rights, and the federal government has its separate rights, which cannot be trespassed, and that's in the Constitution of the US, which is safeguarded by the Supreme Court. So if Donald Trump makes any decision like deployment of Marines or other security agencies to a state without the permission of the state, then it can have a legal ramification. So that is what the governor is aiming at. But you have rightly said that with more and more security forces coming in, the situation can in fact become worse if there is any kind of incident of violence between as far as the security agencies are concerned, because especially the National Guards and the Marines are units or security agencies that are used for war purposes. They are used for fighting wars outside the boundaries of the US. But if they are deployed inside the US, on the US soil against the US citizens, then it can have not only political but also societal ramifications for the country.
All right, Akshay, help us understand Donald Trump's mind, how do you read it? Because California Governor Gavin Newsom has openly criticized Donald Trump for this move. Added to that, there is domestic opposition as well, which Donald Trump is facing. And the National Guard has not been deployed over the head of a state governor since 1965, and that was at the height of the civil rights movement. Put all this together, we still see US President Donald Trump unfazed and undeterred. How do you read the president's mind?
Well, to understand Donald Trump's mind is no easy task, but from the situation that's unfolding on the ground right now, it seems that Trump has, taken it on his, personal ego when it comes to these kind of incidents are concerned and the protests that are going on. So deployment of National Guards and the Marines is a direct, impact of that because the kind of, the protests are happening. It also shows the audacity of many of the protesters who went on with arson, who went on with violence inside not inside just LA, but outside of it as well. So the situation remains tense, and it seems that unless stopped by the courts, there is no stopping Donald J. Trump. And even if it is stopped by the court, we'll have to wait and watch on how Trump deals with this, because we have all seen the Capitol Hill incident that took place when Donald Trump lost the election. His supporters stormed in the official buildings. So we cannot for sure say that what is going to happen.
All right, Akshay, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those inputs. And Chinese and US representatives concluded the first day of the first meeting of the China-US Economic and Trade Consultation Mechanism in London on Monday afternoon. The discussions will continue on Tuesday. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Trade Representative Jamison Greer are leading the US delegation. Chinese Vice Premier He Lifang attended the meeting with US representatives on the first day of the likely 2 days of talks. Top US and Chinese officials met in London's ornate Lancaster House to try to get back on track with a preliminary agreement struck last month in Geneva, and also to diffuse a trade dispute that has widened from tariffs to restrictions over rare earths. Meanwhile, Washington has restricted China's access to US goods such as semiconductors and other related technologies linked to artificial intelligence. The new round of negotiations follows a phone call between Donald Trump and China's leader Xi Jinping last week, which the US president described as a very good talk. US President Donald Trump said that he has no plans to terminate the government's use of Elon Musk's Starlink satellite service made by Elon Musk's SpaceX company, calling it a good service. Speaking to reporters on board the Air Force One, Trump confirmed his administration has no immediate intention to review or cancel the satellite contracts with Musk's SpaceX. Trump also dismissed recent media chatter about Musk allegedly using drugs during a prior visit to the White House.
Elon Musk get physical with the Treasury Secretary?
No, I didn't.
And I tried to
They
ask...
did have an argument, but I didn't see a lot of physicality there.
And there was this New York Times report that he did not want to talk about, Elon Musk, that alleged that he, towards the end of his time in the White House, was blurring the lines between recreational use of drugs and medicinal. Do you think he ever had drugs here at the White House?
I really don't know. I don't think so. I hope not. Look, I wish him well. You understand. We had a good relationship, and I just wish him well. Very well, actually.
US President Donald Trump rejected Iran's latest reply to a nuclear proposal, warning that Tehran's demands could collapse the negotiations. Trump announced that a meeting with Iranian negotiators is scheduled for Thursday, adding that they're asking for things that simply cannot be done. He reiterated Washington's core objection. Iran is pursuing enrichment, warning that failure to reach a deal would carry extremely dangerous consequences. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization had said that it would never accept 0% uranium enrichment, calling the US demands excessive. Trump also confirmed a recent call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, during which they discussed Iran and Lebanon amid other regional developments. US Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he was dismissing all current members of a key federal vaccine advisory panel, accusing them of conflict of interest. Kennedy Jr. has fired all 17 members of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention panel of vaccine experts and is in the process of replacing them. Kennedy casted the move as essential to restoring public trust, claiming the committee had been compromised by financial ties to pharmaceutical companies. The CDC panel will convene its next meeting from June 25th to 27th at CDC headquarters in Atlanta. In his editorial, Kennedy claimed the panel was plagued with persistent conflict of interest and had become little more than a rubber stamp for any vaccine. He added that new members were being considered to replace those ousted, all of whom were appointed under former President Joe Biden. You're watching DD India News. We're waiting for a short break, but after the break, Israeli naval forces seize a charity vessel carrying Swedish activist Greta Thunberg. Israel says all aboard are safe, heading to an Israeli port. Hurricane Barbara hits the eastern Pacific as it gains strength, moving parallel to the west coast of Mexico. Bracing up against declines in the conventional cable business, Warner Brothers Discovery would split into two companies.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Ukraine and Russia carried out the first stage of a prisoner exchange on Monday, following agreements reached in Istanbul last week. The Russian Defense Ministry said that the first group of Russian servicemen under the age of 25 was returned from the territory controlled by Kyiv regime. A similar number of prisoners of war from the Ukrainian army were also transferred. During their last round of talks in Istanbul on 2nd of June, Russia and Ukraine agreed on an all-for-all exchange involving seriously ill and wounded prisoners. The two sides have managed to agree on returning the prisoners of war and repatriating the dead, while broader peace talks remain stalled in the fourth year of the conflict.
Далі, що стосується дітей, ми передали список з майже 400 дітьми русським. Вони нам запропонували щось в цьому напрямку напрацювати до 10 дітей. Ось це їх бачення таке щодо гуманітарних питань.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that there will be several stages of exchanges. Israeli naval forces boarded and seized a charity vessel carrying Swedish activist Greta Thunberg, which had tried to break the naval blockade of the Gaza Strip on Monday. Greta boarded the ship Madeleine alongside a group of activists demanding to deliver crucial supplies to Gaza's suffering population. In her message, she revealed that she and her team were intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by forces that support Israel. The Israeli Foreign Ministry confirmed that the vessel was under Israeli control, assuring the public that the activists were safe and unharmed. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump responded to Thunberg's claim and dismissed Thunberg's statement that she had been kidnapped.
Well, she's a strange person. She's a young, angry person. I don't know if it's real anger. It's hard to believe, actually. But I saw what happened. She's certainly different. Anger management. I think she has to go to an anger management class. That's my primary recommendation for her. I think Israel has enough problems without kidnapping Greta Thunberg. She said she was kidnapped by Israel.
South Sudan's army said on Monday that it would carry out a voluntary, then forceful disarmament of young people in an area where President Salva Kiir has announced a state of emergency. Kiir declared a 6-month emergency in Warup State and Mayom County last week after a surge of violent intercommunal caste raids. The army has deployed forces to the area in order to conduct the disarmament. Initially, it will be a voluntary disarmament, allowing armed youth in the area a grace period of 1 week to voluntarily start handing over their weapons. SSPDF forces will launch coordinated and simultaneous forceful disarmament exercises in Warup and Mayom County. Failure will result in the administration of harsh and punitive measures. Prolific British thriller writer Frederick Forsyth, who instantly became a global best-selling author when his book The Day of the Jackal was published in 1971, died on Monday, aged 86. Forsyth famously penned his most famous work about a fictional assassination attempt on French President Charles de Gaulle by right-wing extremists in just 35 days after falling on hard times. Forsyth died at home, surrounded by his family, following a brief illness. The former journalist and pilot wrote over 25 books, including The Odessa File and The Dogs of War, and also sold over 75 million copies worldwide. Many of his novels were turned into films, and after serving as one of the youngest ever RAF pilots, he turned to journalism, using his gift of languages in German, French and Russian to become a foreign correspondent in Nigeria. Warner Brothers Discovery is going to split into 2 companies as it seeks to better position itself for the streaming era amid decline in the conventional cable business. The entertainment giant will break itself into 2 publicly traded companies, one covering streaming and studios and the other global networks. The shift, designed to enable each venture to maximize its potential, is expected to be completed by mid-2026. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav will serve as the chief of streaming, while Warner Brothers Discovery Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Wiedenfels will lead the global networks. Warner Brothers Discovery's plan to split itself comes after Comcast in November announced that it would spin off cable television channels, including CNBC and MSNBC, into a new company. In a new development, creditors of Warner Brothers Discovery are consulting with advisors after the entertainment company proposed to ban investor cooperation pacts. Law firms are organizing bondholders to push back against Warner's proposal and negotiate better terms. A U.S. judge on Monday dismissed actor Justin Baldoni's $400 million defamation lawsuit against actress Blake Lively, who had accused Baldoni of sexually harassing her while filming the 2024 movie It Ends With Us. Baldoni had accused Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds and their publicist, the New York Times, and others of orchestrating a smear campaign to extort him. He accused Lively of trying to hijack the movie, whose themes included domestic violence, and then blamed him when her promotional approach prompted an online backlash against her. Let's get to other updates now. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said that Barbara hurricane became the first hurricane of the season in the eastern Pacific as it gained strength, moving parallel to the west coast of Mexico. The latest CNH report stated that the tropical cyclone was about 245 kilometers southwest of Manzanillo, Colima, moving northwest with sustained winds. The CNH forecasted that the cyclone would start weakening on Tuesday. Mexico's National Water Commission reported that Barbara's outer bands are likely to bring heavy rainfall to Jalisco, Colima and Mocacan, along with strong winds and high waves in these areas. Conagua warned that the rainfall could cause landslides, rising water levels and flooding in low-lying areas. The CNH expects 9 to 15 hurricanes in the Atlantic and 7 to 15 in the eastern Pacific this season. Canada's military has begun airlifting residents from the remote Sandy Lake First Nation in northern Ontario as wildfires spread from the prairies into the province. In recent weeks, wildfires have swept through heavily forested areas of the prairies, displacing over 30,000 residents across Alberta, Saskatchewan and also Manitoba. Both Saskatchewan and Manitoba have declared states of emergency. The Sandy Lake evacuation marks the largest evacuation operation so far in Ontario. Fires currently remain in Ontario's northwest and have not reached the densely populated south. People of the New South Wales in Australia woke up to the first snow of the season. The last significant snowfall in central tablelands occurred in 2021, making this event a rare and delightful surprise for the residents. In contrast, nearby Mount Canobolas, which rises just under 1,400 meters, frequently receives snow, attracting both locals and visitors eager to enjoy the winter wonderland. And back home, the flood situation in Assam has improved further as the major rivers showed a receding trend with none of the rivers flowing above the danger level. The flood-affected victims have reduced to 2.5 lakh in 11 districts. While temperatures soared in many places of the state, IMD has issued yellow alert for all northeastern states. Heavy rainfall with thunderstorms is lightning is also likely at isolated places of Assam and Meghalaya. A total number of 91 relief camps were set up. Over 6,300 flood victims are now in shelters of 43 relief camps set up, and also over 44,000 non-camp inmates received immediate aid relief in 48 relief distribution centers. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, aiming to step up diplomatic engagement, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets members of European Parliament. Shubhanshu Shukla is set to become the first Indian to reach the International Space Station. Stay with us as we tell you more about his feat. Stories of taste, tradition and transformation from Spain enthralled all at the Spain Jaipur Literary Fest. Stay with us to get more.
Welcome to Kumarakom, Kerala, God's own country. Open your mind to a whole new world. Explore mystic wonders of nature in the forests.
तो मुझे देख के आपको लग रहा है कि मुझे इजी वाला देना चाहिए.
Uncover secrets hidden deep inside the earth.
And I'd always heard of this ancient Shiv Mandir which is inside a cave.
Experience the rich cultural legacy.
मुझे बताइए इस डांस फॉर्म के बारे में, इस आर्ट फॉर्म के बारे में.
Experience the blend of vibrant warmth and stunning creations.
It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Jharkhand, let it become a part of you. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. Los Angeles protest over immigration raids escalate in scale and order. Trump deploys Marines in the city even as California governor vows to sue Trump administration amid escalating conflict. Markets around the world watching intently as US-China trade talks in London stretch to the second day. Trump claims the talks going well. Trump warns time running out for Iran to avoid military action as next round of nuclear talks to take place on Thursday. Also, Tehran readies a counter-proposal on a potential agreement. Amid escalating tensions, Russia and Ukraine exchange prisoners. Zelensky welcomes the move, says the exchange began under the first stage of agreement reached in Istanbul and there will be several stages. Frederick Forsyth, UK author known for spy novels and Day of the Jackal, dies at the age of 86. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, on a visit to European nations, met members of the European Parliament. Now, this is his third visit to Europe in the past few months and a part of the government's efforts to step up the diplomatic engagement. During his visit to Belgium, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Maxime Prevot. The discussions focused on enhancing bilateral cooperation and combating terrorism. He also appreciated Belgium's support in combating terrorism and welcomed their solidarity and emphasized on the strong momentum in the India-EU partnership, highlighting the potential for collaboration in clean energy, mobility and pharmaceuticals. Interacting with members of Indian community of Belgium and Luxembourg, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar discussed the steady progress of India-Belgium ties and also engagement with the European Union. He also apprised them of India's efforts countering terrorism and ensuring progress and prosperity of the nation. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is on a week-long visit to the Belgium, European Union and France in an effort to renew momentum in the ongoing cooperation in diverse areas. Shubhanshu Shukla is set to become the first Indian to reach the International Space Station and only the second ever in orbit, an achievement that India hopes will be a stepping stone for its own maiden human space flight program. Ragini Sudhir Chore gets us more.
On 10th of June, another Indian, Shubhanshu Shukla, after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, will take a shot at history by becoming the first to travel to the International Space Station. Born on 10th October 1985 in the Indian city of Lucknow, Shukla was commissioned into the Indian Air Force in 2006. A test pilot, Group Captain Shukla, has logged more than 2,000 hours of flying. He has flown combat jets such as the Su-30 MKI and Jaguar bombers. ISRO chairperson V. Narayanan says that the benefit India will get from this mission is phenomenal in terms of the training, exposure to the facilities, and the experience of jointly conducting experiments in space. The crew is expected to spend 14 days aboard the International Space Station engaging in science, diplomacy, and public outreach.
I have a personal agenda of capturing my experience on board this station through pictures and videos so that I can share these with all the Bharatvasis back home. I want them to share this thrilling experience through my eyes. For I truly believe that even though I, as an individual, am traveling to space, this is the journey of 1.4 billion people.
The proud parents of Shubhanshu Shukla, who is set to become the first Indian to travel to the International Space Station, are praying for the success of his mission.
भगवान से यही प्रार्थना करते हैं कि अच्छे से अच्छे उनका मिशन कंप्लीट हो और अच्छे से सब पूरे भारत का नाम रोशन हो. हम घर वालों का तो नाम रोशन है ही, हम लोग का सीना चौड़ा हो गया है गर्व से.
From the cockpit of a Sukhoi to the spacecraft cabin, the trajectory of Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is now headed beyond the Earth. When the engines ignite and the Falcon 9 lifts off, it won't just be one man heading to space. It will be a nation taking its next confident step among the stars. Bureau Report, DD India.
In a vibrant celebration of words, ideas and cultures, the third edition of the Jaipur Literature Festival in Valladolid, the former capital of Spain, has once again opened a literary bridge between India and the world. Celebrated in the Campo Grande Park amidst nature, the festival cast a spotlight on culinary narratives, tracing the rich flavors and food stories that journeyed from the kitchens of India to the tables of Spain, creating a tapestry of taste, tradition and transformation.
Very proud of the GLF in Valladolid, Spain festival, because it's a bilingual festival. We've broken out of the power and hegemony of English and entered one of the great literary languages in the world, which is Spanish. And these are bilingual sessions in Spanish and in English, but we've had Sanskrit sessions here. The world literature is a multilingual thing. It goes beyond the boundaries of just words to thoughts, ideas, narratives.
One of the key highlights was the compelling session titled How the World Made the West, where historians and thinkers challenged Eurocentric narratives and explored how civilizations across Asia and Africa shaped what we now call the Western world. Music lovers were treated to soul-stirring music featuring the Indian cello, while early risers welcomed the day with calming yoga sessions, offering a taste of India's ancient practice to the global audience.
I haven't prepared them for it yet. And to see it dancing.
Spain was created to build a bridge between India and Spain and Europe and really explore how words can be bridges. In today's very divided world, literature and ideas and innovation can come together as this vital bridge in taking a society, innovation and technology.
Third edition in Valladolid to be heard across the world thanks to this platform, and to also listen to voices from across the US, United Kingdom, from other countries, and the Spanish voices, which are very important. Just go to a park and see Gurudev Tagore's statue just across the hotel was a big high for me.
A special exhibition titled Echoes of Enlightenment, Light in Stone, Breath on Canvas opened at the Colombo National Museum to mark Poya, an annual festival commemorating the arrival of Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Celebrating the deep cultural ties between India and Sri Lanka, the exhibition was inaugurated by Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha. It features rare Buddha sculptures from both the countries, along with ancient paintings and photographs dating back to the 1st century BCE. Organized by the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center and Sri Lanka's Department of National Museums in collaboration with the Bihar Museum and National Gallery of Modern Arts, the event also saw 600 Sinhala translated Amar Chitra Katha comics on Jataka tales distributed to Dhamma school students.
We have an exhibition of Buddha sculpture and paintings that have come from Bihar Museum. We have a very large number of people coming here and showing great interest in it. As we all know, Buddhism is at the foundation of India-Sri Lanka relations and something that we have been promoting in the last decade or so. And there is a very strong connect between India and Sri Lanka on the Buddhist heritage sites.
It's a great pleasure to have this exhibition here in collaboration with Swami Vivekananda Center, Indian Cultural Center, Indian High Commission and the Colombo, the Department of National Museums. I think it's a remarkable event regarding the India and Sri Lanka cultural history and friendship.
Sri Lanka is celebrating Poya, a significant religious festival that marks the introduction of Buddhism to the island over 2 millennia ago. Celebrated on the full moon day of June, the day honors the moment when Arahat Mahinda, the son of Emperor Ashoka, delivered his first sermon to King Devanam Pitayasa at Mehintale. Large crowds have gathered at sacred sites like Mehintale Hill and Anuradhapura to take part in the religious observances. Cities and homes are decorated with lanterns and festive displays in the honor of the occasion. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake extended his greetings on the occasion. And back home, 9th of June marks 11 transformative years of the Modi government, an era that reshaped India from lifting millions out of poverty to propelling the country into the league of the fastest growing economies. The journey reflects progress with purpose. Mihir Mekhuri gets us the details.
मैं नरेंद्र दामोदर दास मोदी ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि मैं विधि द्वारा स्थापित भारत के संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखूंगा.
For the past 11 years, this oath and the man behind it have become emblems of trust and transformation for over 1 billion Indians. A symbol of resolve, a journey of change and promises kept. From economic acceleration to social upliftment, the arc of India's transformation under Prime Minister Modi is both broad and bold. India is now the world's 4th largest economy and continues to be the fastest growing major economy. A feat that reflects 11 years of sound policy making.
We are the 4th largest economy as I speak. We are a $4 trillion economy as I speak. And this is not my data, this is IMF data. India today is larger than Japan.
Fueling this economic engine is India's robust agriculture sector. Over $43.5 billion disbursed under PM Kisan and record MSP hikes have empowered millions of farmers, strengthening the backbone of Bharat. At the core of this growth lies compassion. In 11 years, the Modi government has transformed lives by building 40 million Pakka homes, distributing free food grains, and providing healthcare cover to 550 million underprivileged Indians.
पिछले 11 साल में 25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त कर करके विजयी होकर के गरीबी से बाहर निकले हैं.
A dignified life is now a reality for many. With over 120 million household toilets built and 150 million homes getting tap water connections, the government has brought dignity and hygiene to millions of doorsteps. Youth and innovation have been placed front and center. 490 new universities and 160,000 startups are shaping a new India led by aspiration, skill and entrepreneurship. Nation building needs connectivity. In just 11 years of PM Modi, highways have expanded from 91,000 kilometers to 146,000 kilometers. Airports have more than doubled. 136 Vande Bharat trains now speed across India. From eliminating terror camps through operations like Sindoor to boosting defense exports by 33 times, India has asserted strength and self-reliance like never before. India has also soared into space. Chandrayaan-3 made history by landing on the moon's south pole, while over 200 private space startups now mark a new era of innovation. And while India surges ahead, it also reconnects with its soul. From reclaiming stolen artifacts to the grand construction of Ram Temple in Ayodhya, the Modi government has rekindled civilizational pride and spiritual heritage in more than a decade. 11 years, one vision, countless milestones. From empowering the poor to propelling space dreams. The final destination of this journey is a developed India by 2047. Mihir Mekhuri for DD India.
Meghna Dev is joining us from Ahmedabad. Meghna, we've shown a detailed report of how the 11 years of good governance have transformed lives and also have put India on the track of becoming a developed nation by 2047. You as a journalist, as a reporter, how do you evaluate the 11 years of transformation India has gone through?
Preeti, first of all, being in Gujarat, we have definitely seen the Modi regime here when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and he had a very long tenure here as well. After that, when we actually evaluate the kind of Gujarat model that has been implemented across India, we are talking about manufacturing prowess. Now we are talking about how semiconductors have come into the picture. There are semiconductor plants, talks of it opening in Jaipur, or talks of it opening the final assembly line units opening in Sanand. We also do see that there have been strides in different sectors, just as we did just show in our report. When we are talking about the space sector, the new space policy, or be the opening of in-space, hand-holding to space startups has also created a very massive impact in terms of the kind of growth that startups have. Secondly, when you are talking about startups, India is the third largest startup ecosystem with about 1.5 lakh recognized startups, more than 1.5 lakh recognized startups in different sectors. We are also talking about how PLI schemes have helped the drone manufacturing or the drone component manufacturing. We also do see in different sectors, specifically in the environment sector, when we are talking about Project Lion, we are talking about Project Tiger, especially when we're talking about Asiatic lions. Recently, there was the census which did actually show a significant growth in the lion population. So these have been efforts that have been consistently, these efforts have been put in the past decade, which actually are now showing results. We also do see that, in several areas, be it digitalization, India is one of the most connected democracy when we are talking about internet penetration, or we are talking about digital penetration. Definitely, a cultural aspect is also something that in the last few years have been very prominently heritage preservation, conservation projects. Not only that, also some very important places of religious importance that have also been developed. The places in and around those, be it Kashi Vishwanath Temple, or be it the Mahakaleshwar Temple in Ujjain. We have definitely seen all those corridors being developed so that there is more tourism. Places of religious importance have been revamped completely. So all of these efforts have definitely have had impact on ground. When we speak to common people, we definitely do see that there has been this kind of change which is impacting how people are easily able to reach there. Now, when we are talking about reaching, we are talking about commuting, we talk about trains, we are talking about Vande Bharat trains, we are talking about fast transport, better roads, better connectivity, number of airports opening up. So definitely there has been a multi-dimensional development in the past decade, but what I personally as a journalist see that the impact of the kind of vision that has come up since 2014, past 5 years have definitely started showing the impact of the work that was done. So clearly on the ground we see airports functioning, we see new institutes coming up, we see revamping of important religious places, we see better connectivity. We are also seeing how our global outreach, our global presence has definitely improved, and we are obviously the kind of stature that India has at the moment. Not only that, Preeti, very importantly, recently when we are talking about Operation Sindoor, we did see that our resolute to fight against terrorism, combined with our indigenous capabilities that we have built in the past few years, did definitely reap results, which the kind of impact we clearly saw during Operation Sindoor. Obviously India has now been, in the past few years, India has been making strides in different sectors consistently, and the kind of growth, obviously being the fourth largest economy, the kind of growth and the kind of accelerated growth that India is seeing in the past few years is something now the kind of actions that will be taken for more development and infrastructural development. The results will also start showing in the next 5 years to come.
All right. Thank you so much, Meghna, for joining in with those details. So that was our correspondent Meghna speaking on 11 years of good governance under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. And on completion of 11 years of NDA government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the head of the BAPS Hindu Temple in Abu Dhabi, Swami Brahma Vihari Das, praised Prime Minister Modi for his dedicated leadership, noting his efforts to strengthen India and uplift the world.
never tire, never retire, and never expire from doing great work. He's making India great, but at the same time, he's also making the world greater. We pray for our Prime Minister and we ask everybody to help him, help India to greater and greater heights.
And from here we now turn focus to the updates from the world of markets. The S&P 500 ended slightly higher on Monday, lifted by Amazon and Alphabet. On Wall Street, the S&P 500 gained 5.52 points to end at 6,005.88 points, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 61.28 points to 19,591.24. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1.1 points to 42,761.76. The US dollar was little changed against the yen at 144.57 in early trading. Major data releases this week include readings on May consumer prices on Wednesday and also initial jobless claims on Thursday. While investors widely expect the Fed to keep interest rates unchanged next week, focus will be on any signs of pickup in inflation as Trump's tariffs risk raising price pressures. Apple unveiled iOS 26, a significant software update featuring a bold new design, enhanced intelligence, and key app improvements at its annual Worldwide Developers Conference. The company introduced features such as live translations during calls and a new liquid glass design for its operating systems. Apple stated that these upgrades were possible due to more powerful custom chips. Apple also revealed a partnership with OpenAI, incorporating ChatGPT-powered image generation into its Image Playground app, while assuring users that no data would be shared without consent. The company acknowledged past AI setbacks and emphasized on small, useful improvements as it navigates technical and regulatory hurdles. Leslie Ikemoto, Apple's Director of Input Experience, said that live translations will be integrated into message, FaceTime, and phone calls.
With Apple Intelligence, live translation can translate conversations on the fly. It's integrated into messages, FaceTime, and phone. And it's enabled by Apple-built models that run entirely on device. So your personal conversations stay personal.
From here, we now turn focus to sports. Former Indian cricket team captain MS Dhoni was inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame during an event in London on Monday. He is also the 11th Indian player to be honoured by the sports governing body. After making his debut for India in 2004, Dhoni took over as captain of the Indian squad in 2007 for the inaugural ICC T20 World Cup and also led the team to the trophy. He also led the team to ODI World Cup win in 2011 and the Champions Trophy in 2013. MS Dhoni has played 350 ODIs, scoring 10,773 runs at an average of 50.57. He has played 90 tests and ended his career in the format with 4,876 runs. From cricket to tennis now, Yannick Sinner of Italy extended his lead at the top of the ATP World Rankings on Monday, despite his defeat to second-ranked Carlos Alcaraz in the French Open final. Sinner gained 500 for reaching this year's final and also remains world number one. Spaniard Alcaraz lifted the title for the second straight year, gained no points and remained second. Meanwhile, Germany's Alexander Zverev remained third despite his quarterfinal elimination by Novak Djokovic. In women's rankings, Aryna Sabalenka continues to remain at the top of the WTA rankings despite losing the French Open final to Coco Gauff. 3 times Grand Slam winner Sabalenka has a lead of over 3,400 points over second-placed Gauff after the French Open. A kite flying competition was held in the Shilin River Tourist in Mongolia. Kites shaped like mythical creatures, their wings shimmering in the sunlight, and others that resembled flowers, their petals unfurled gracefully in the breeze. right, with that, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off. And from all of us at in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.